This video is for you if you've ever failed, if you've ever had to start over, and if you find yourself in that place right now where you know, I'm starting again. A couple of years ago, I was doing a ministry job, part-time. I was going to school, full-time, was trying to figure out how to make some money because the ministry job I was doing didn't really pay much more than maybe getting a couple hamburgers per week, just because it was a very small church and that was the opportunity that was available. And so I had to figure out, how can I make some more money? How can I do this? I was just recently engaged, and I said, what skill sets do I have that I could turn into some cash, so I can live? Still living at home at the time, and very small town, to the point that you would have to drive 20-30 minutes in either direction just to try to find the nearest metroplex. Really, it was just the nearest city. That's the only place you could go for a groceries. If you had to go to the grocery store, you have to go 20 minutes or wherever. And so there was quite a bit of distance for me from being around anyone. And so the question was, how do I make this work? How do I support myself? How do I do this in this time? And I had taken on a lot of stuff. I had taken on a lot of said responsibility. And I was all for it. I was like, look, I'm young, I'm going to make a difference, I'm going to try to make this happen. And in the midst of doing all that, I had, for one reason or another, come down with this autoimmune deal, which caused me to lose just about every hair on my body. And it happened within a couple weeks, and I was like, what is going on? So I want you to imagine a situation where you know that you have to try to make yourself known, you have to try to attract clients, you have to try to go to school, you have to try to do ministry, you have to do all these things, you have to make money, but you're sick and you are suffering, and you've got these hives that come on, and you're itching, you don't know what's going on, and the doctors don't really tell you anything other than, hey, here's the name of this thing we think you have, oh, by the way, here's some antidepressants. And so they try to throw you on these things. You're driving and you're falling asleep driving, and I was falling asleep driving. You gain 20 pounds or so, so you stop taking the medication, and then you're just left like, who is this new me? This isn't 1 year ago, this isn't where I thought I was going to be. And what happens is sometimes we find ourselves in places as we start going along our journey where we hit dips. And those dips are valleys, as you may call them. You don't know how far you're going. And the deeper you go in them, the darker that they can seem. And no matter what kind of light you may seem to, or you may hope to try to provide that place, the deeper you go, the darker it seems to get. And so I was there in this dark place, and when you're in a dark place like this, you have to really ask yourself, why am I here? What has led me here? Has it been the decisions I have made? And sometimes they can be what would be considered good decisions. But the question you have to ask is, were those made under the right assumptions? Assuming that I could figure out what I need to do to achieve this. Assuming I have accurate data, accurate information for me to act on. And in my case, I really didn't. I tried to start a business when I had no concept of what sales was. I had no concept of what marketing was. I knew that I could take a camera and record something, but I didn't know how and which way to combine those elements to bring an ROI to a business. So for me, it was just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what would stick, and finding out that you have a sponge that's dry and not a lot's gonna stick. And going through all this, I had gotten really down. What I wanted to do was be able to get on camera. What I wanted to do was be able to put myself out there and market myself. But I couldn't hardly stand to look in the mirror. Like this version of me that I was seeing and the version of me that existed was such a discrepancy via appearance and via the potential I knew that I had that I wasn't living up to, that I felt a lot of shame. And when you hold those type of emotions of shame, of guilt, and you can dip into these other feelings of apathy, of why am I even trying? And the longer that you stay there, the longer you deter your progress. And if you stay there too long, it will become your personality. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably someone who says, look, I'm not here to stay in those places of shame, of guilt, and apathy. I felt them. Maybe I'm feeling them right now, but I want more. I want to grow more. There's an old guy that I heard say, the secret of happiness is freedom. And the secret of freedom is courage. Now, there's a lot of talk about emotions and their resonance or the frequency which they vibrate at. I don't know all the science behind it, but I think there is a little bit to it, where when you're feeling these negative emotions, you're at such a low level of, call it consciousness or whatever. I don't really know if that's the right word to say it, but you can feel yourself very low. And when you start becoming courageous, you start breaking past the plane of negative emotions into positive. Once you get past courage, into love, into purpose, and then fulfillment, and these higher levels that really I believe God created you to live at. If that's where you are, my friend, if you are in a place of shame and of guilt, the first place to start is, before you can even be courage, you need to give yourself some grace. You need to forgive yourself for the failure of the past, knowing today you've been given a new opportunity. Today you've been given new graces. This biblical principle of God being very long-suffering for his people. He's not quick to judge often. He will allow us the benefits of his mercy and of his grace to have new opportunities to come back to him and to try to live in a more sanctified, holy life. And for you, my friend, you have an opportunity today where you can say, that past is dead to me. The new me, the new identity I have is this person who is courageous, who is full of joy, who is a self-educator, an autodidact, of a person who will do what is required. That is the opportunity presented to you, my friend. But it starts with you giving some grace to yourself. It starts with you forgiving yourself and then making a decision. The decision on what type of person you want to be. From that really determines the direction you want to go in life, the goals you want to achieve, and how you want to act, how you want to present. What are the daily actions, the disciplines, the habits that you have? So that's your decision. Who do you want to be? And once you've decided who you want to be, then it's a matter of putting a plan together and putting together action. What actions do you need to take that are in accordance with who you want to be so that you can come to achieve your overarching goal? That's it. This is what you need to have the courage to start again. Grace, understanding yourself, making a decision, and then taking the action. My friend, if you do this, you will experience that happiness. You will experience the freedom in there because of your courage. And it does take courage to start again. When you know that everybody else is just like, it's failed for so long, or she hasn't turned out to anything, she hasn't amounted to anything. And to be fair, they're right, but that's the version of you from the past, not the version of you from today and henceforth. Who will you be henceforth? That's my question for you. And when you decide that, you can know that you have the courage to start again. I'll see you, my friend, in the next video.